Knowledge is power. This is why I would like to share with you the mechanics of fat gain and fat loss, and how a low carb diet can help you with your fat loss and keeping the fat off, and why the reason why calories in, calories out, and calorie deficit does not work. Hello, welcome back to the Stay Fitness channel. If you're new to this channel, my name is Daniela. I'm a fitness, nutrition and life coach specialized in obesity and diabetes management. In today's video, I would like to explore with you how fat gain and fat loss actually works. And we're going to keep exploring the mechanics of hormones and so basically to let you know how our body actually works, so you can make the best decisions for your own health. So in my previous videos, we already explored the top 3 hormones that were going to influence your fat gain and fat loss. We looked at insulin and how insulin impacts massively your weight gain. We looked at leptin and ghrelin, and I really recommend you to go and have a look. I'm gonna leave you the link on top here or here, I never remember which side. And so all this knowledge on how our hormone works, we can now tell that we don't get fat because we overeat because we are fat. And losing fat is a matter of fixing the hormonal balances in our bodies, and it's not a matter of restricting yourself, being hungry, and diet for your whole life. In this video, we're going to take a step forward and understand how fat and carbs get metabolized and how they cause fat gain. So first of all, we need to look at fat cells. Everyone has a set number of fat cells, which are being given to us by the age of 2. We actually don't multiply fat cells, our fat cells get bigger. So how do the fat cells get bigger? So to look at that, we first need to understand the impact that the different macronutrients have on our insulin and how they get metabolized. So the graphs we're going to see in today's video are actually taken from the lecture Paul Mason had. Is on YouTube, so I'm gonna leave you the link in the description below. It's a fantastic lecture. It's 30 minutes long, and he's done the most amazing job explaining fat metabolism and fat loss. In today's video, I'm going to just try and keep it short and sweet for you guys and give you as much information as possible without hopefully boring the hell out of you. So the first macro we're gonna look at is carbs. So we're going to, on the slide, as you can see, we're going to see the impact of carbs have on our insulin. And now we're going to compare with protein, and next we're going to compare it with fat. As you can tell from the graphic that carbs have the highest effect on our insulin by far a lot, and fat has the lowest. So now that we know what influence have different macros on our insulin, we're going to look at our fat cells and how do our fat cells get bigger, causing fat gain. So you're going to look at this graphic and think, oh my god, this is too complicated, like I'm never gonna understand this. Just stay with me, I'm going to talk you through it and it's all going to make sense. The big yellow circle is our fat molecule present in our blood vessels, essentially our fat cell. The triglycerides that you can see on your left hand side are fat that we eat, being transported to our fat cells. Because the triglycerides are too big, they can't just enter the fat cell, they first need to be divided in 2. This is what the LPL does, which LPL stands for lipoprotein lipase. So imagine the fat being transported by our bloodstream and it wants to enter the fat cell, so the LPL is like a pair of scissors, snips it in 2, so they're small enough to enter. So what stimulates the LPL? Insulin. So the higher the insulin in our bloodstream, the more fat is going to enter into the fat cell. And the lower the insulin in our bloodstream, the lower the absorption of fat into our fat cells is going to be. Next up, let's look at glucose, which is on the top. Glucose, which is carbs, gets transported to our fat cells by GLUT4 transporter, which you can imagine as being a bus taking glucose to our fat cell. So what fuels the GLUT4 transporter? You guessed it, insulin. So again, the more insulin in our blood, the more glucose the fat cell is going to absorb. So what happened to our fat cell? The fat and the glucose that have entered the fat cell make a baby and create triglycerides. Triglycerides then cause the fat cell to get bigger. So now we know that in order to get our fat cells to get bigger, we need insulin. So then how do we make our fat cells smaller? So to make our fat cells smaller, we need the triglycerides to leave our fat cells. How do we do that? For that, we need hormone-sensitive lipase, which is a HSL that you can see in the middle of the fat cell. And imagine the hormone-sensitive lipase being like a key that opens the door from the inside to our fat cells so they can take glucose and fat, aka triglycerides, out of the fat cells and get smaller. So which hormone would prevent this hormone-sensitive lipase from opening the door to our fat cells for the fat to get out and get our fat cells smaller? You guessed it, insulin. So now we know that to gain weight, we need insulin, and to lose weight, we need absence of insulin. So basically, we can now draw a line and say insulin is making us gain fat and is preventing us from losing it. So all of a sudden, we now realize why calorie deficit doesn't actually work, because in the presence of insulin, which your trainer tells you can eat those 2 cookies as long as you're in a calorie deficit, is no problem. What those 2 cookies do, they raise your insulin and prevent you from losing fat. So the only real way to have an efficient fat loss and keep the fat off is to control our insulin levels. And if we go back to the screen where we saw the effects of insulin of different macronutrients, we can see where a high fat, low carb diet is going to be the most effective. When we eat fat, we'll have minimal rise in insulin levels, and our insulin will drop really fast after we eating some fat, so that the hormone-sensitive lipase can open the door from our fat cells to triglycerides to leave and our fat cells to shrink. Yeah, I think this knowledge is pretty mind-blowing because, it blew my mind, and I can see now it's taking me up about 10 minutes to explain you all of this, which I hope is acceptable. I didn't bore you to death, but I just thought it was so important to share with you all this amazing knowledge that now we have thanks to all these amazing doctors that have done their own research. They looked at so many studies, like how fat loss happens, how we react to different macronutrients, and I think this is amazing. We can finally have an effective fat loss, and it's not a pill, it's not magic diet, it's just about removing the food that is making us fat and eating the foods that are not making us fat. It's not about being hungry. You should eat until you're satisfied. You shouldn't feel hungry during the day. You shouldn't feel frustrated because you can't eat. If you want me to coach you through this whole process, you should head to the Stay Fitness website, where I'm offering a free consultation and 50% off your first subscription. I can help you with setting up your nutritional goals, setting up an effective fitness program so you can be in the best shape of your life without being miserable in the process. As usual, I hope you guys enjoy this video. There'll be many more coming, so make sure to subscribe, hit the bell button so you never miss any videos when they come out. I would like to wish you the best day, and I'll see you next time.